The new for 1994 Honda Accord hit the road as a stylish, safer, better performing, and more fuel-efficient iteration of an already well-crafted vehicle. The Accord offered 4-cylinder engines and later added a 24-valve 2.7-liter unit, which was derived from the original Acura Legend. In this episode, we're going to take a closer look at the 5th generation Honda Accord and learn exactly how it was a well-packaged, finely executed coupe, sedan, and wagon. So grab a Coke Zero, kick back, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 4th generation Honda Accord made its debut utilizing the Charlie Bravo chassis. Making its public unveiling in 1989, the 4th generation car would be all new for the 1990 model year. The new sedan had larger dimensions than its predecessor. Although the design language was an evolution of the 3rd generation model, it retained some familiar design cues, including the signature low-slung design and wraparound rear window. The CB Accord entered production in September 1989, but there was also something else that was taking place this year, a lesser-known project. In fall 1989, around the same time the 4th generation Accord was being manufactured, the initial developmental stages of the 5th generation Accord were already underway, with the new project undergoing significant engineering design improvements. The initial development was in full swing by late 1989, with the design process scheduled to begin during the summer of the following year. 1990. In June of this year, the design process for the 5th generation Accord began. The final design was submitted by winter 1990 and approved by summer 1991. Things didn't go as smoothly as planned, and there were a few roadblocks. Design inconsistencies in early 1992 caused several modifications to be made until spring 1992. Once the design inconsistencies were worked out, a secondary design was submitted and approved, just prior to its scheduled production for the following year. Design patents were soon filed in the United States in late winter 1992 for the Charlie Delta chassis. 1993. Production later began at Marysville Assembly, located in Ohio, in late August. In the month of September, the 5th generation North American Accord was launched for the 1994 model year. Based on the new Charlie Delta chassis, the new for 1994 Accord was slightly shorter than the outgoing model. However, it now boasted an additional 3 inches of width over its predecessor. Despite the slight decrease in length, overall, the new Accord was larger than its predecessor, which was a good thing, especially since this car was looking to fit the needs of the typical North American buyer. The all-new Accord was available in 3 body styles: coupe, sedan, and wagon. The sedan was available in 3 trim levels for the US market: base DX, mid-level LX, and top trim EX. The wagon was offered in base LX or loaded EX versions. The Canadian market was a bit different in terms of trim levels, being the LX, EX, and EXR. The 1994 Accords were all powered by an all-aluminum alloy single overhead cam 2.2-liter 16-valve inline-4, rated at 130 horsepower in DX and LX models. The DX and LX models came equipped similarly to the previous generation and featured a modified version of the previous generation's 2.2-liter non-VTEC inline-4. The EX 4-cylinder engine was upgraded with Honda's variable valve timing and lift electronic control technology, generating a 5 horsepower increase over the previous generation EX, bringing the power output to 145. The standard transmission was a short-throw 5-speed manual, while a 4-speed automatic was available as an option. The automatic includes a feature called grade logic. The logic system provides smoother shifting when climbing or descending hills. In other words, the transmission selects and holds the gear ratio that best suits the particular driving situation. From a safety standpoint, there were driver and passenger airbags standard on all Accords. Storage space was plentiful, with 13 cubic feet of cargo space in the trunk. In addition, the trunk stretched a good distance below the rear window. The Accord was again named Motor Trend Import Car of the Year for 1994. Fast forward to 1995. Honda added a V6 engine to the Accord lineup, making it even more competitive with the Camry, not to mention the new for 1995 Ford Contour, which also had an optional V6 similar in size and matched the Accord's V6 in terms of horsepower and torque figures. Check out our Ford Contour episode for all of the details. The Accord's V6 displaced 2.7 liters and was based on the original Acura Legend engine and generated 170 horsepower and 165 pound-feet of torque. The engine was paired with a new 4-speed electronically controlled automatic transmission. The LX and EX sedans offered the V6. The LX models were referred to as the LX V6 and EX models as EX V6. The EX-V6 models came equipped similarly to the EXL, with leather seats being the only option in the EX-V6. Since the new V6 engine was larger in size, significant modifications had to be made to the Charlie Delta platform in order to accommodate it. The engine layout, for example, was revamped. The V6 received a dual exhaust and a 4-speed automatic transmission. There were 15-inch machined aluminum alloy wheels on the EX-V6 and 15-inch steel wheels with full covers on the LX-V6, not to mention a revised front grille. The mid-cycle refresh came for the 1996 model year, highlighting a modestly revised front and rear end. Also in 1996, the Accord model lineup included the 25th anniversary edition, slotting between the DX and the LX. Fast forward to 1997, Honda released the special edition version of the Accord, offering 3 different colors. The Accord EX front and rear suspension consisted of double wishbone arms, coil springs, and stabilizer bars, making it one of the most sophisticated layouts to be found on a contemporary mainstream sedan. As far as driving impressions, the Accord was praised for offering a marvelous driving experience with its nifty handling and maneuverability, not to mention excellent steering feel and comfortable ride. The inline-4 engine had the reputation of being crisp and responsive. However, it was the optional V6 that really transitioned the Accord into a more eager and lively sedan that could effortlessly pass and dart through traffic, whether on a back road or highway. Mass production of the 6th generation Accord began in August 1997, with customer deliveries beginning in September 1997. The new for 1998 Honda Accord had an evolutionary design. The styling restraint was primarily because Honda had a major hit with the 5th generation Accord. That said, the company didn't want to revolutionize the design and risk alienating prospective buyers. That's exactly what Ford was experiencing with the 3rd generation Taurus. Although these cars are 2 different generations, many of the styling cues are carried over from the outgoing model to the new model, and both 5th and 6th generation Accords were drafted up by 2 completely different designers. When the 5th generation Honda Accord made its debut in fall 1993, there were 2 different versions intended for various markets. One version was destined for the European market, and the other was developed for North American and Japanese markets. Honda and their Rover group linked up and created the European Accord and the Rover 600, similar to the successful joint collaboration they had with the Honda Legend and the Rover 800. Check out our Acura Legend episode for all of the details regarding that collaboration. This generation Accord was also sold in Japan as a badge-engineered Isuzu. When the 5th generation Accord for the European market made its debut, it was completely different from the model we got here on North American shores. Frankly, this particular car was nothing more than the JDM Honda Ascot Innova, a car which was based on the previous 4th generation Charlie Bravo Accord chassis and was the product of a joint collaboration with the Rover Group that provided Rover with the 600 series. The design for this particular model was submitted and approved in 1989 and had a design language similar to that of the 4th generation Prelude, which was also designed in 1989. Fast forward to 1996. The European Accord got a mid-cycle refresh and had received a new front end and slightly different tail lamps. The design of the refreshed Accord remained identical to that of the Honda Ascot and Nova. The European Accord boasted a completely different design language than that of the North American Accord. The Accord on US shores sported the typical streamlined sedan styling. On the flip side, the European model was low-slung and sported a fastback shape that included rear quarter windows. Unlike its North American counterpart, the European Accord did not have a coupe or wagon spin-off. Honda believed it was more feasible to import the coupe and wagon variants of the global Accord. There was a diesel engine offered for the European spec Accord. The diesel model featured the direct injection 2-liter Rover L Series inline-4 diesel engine, which was also featured in the Rover 600. Speaking of the Rover 600, we mentioned earlier in this video how this model shared its platform with the European Accord. The front doors, lower rear doors, and a few components up front were shared with the Euro spec Accord. Other than that, the 600 boasted its own design language wrapped in an understated yet elegant package. Comparing the interior of the 600 to the Euro spec Accord, one would notice many similarities. Inside the 600, the design of the dashboard directly resembled the one found in the European Accord. The Honda Accord has developed an excellent reputation as well as a loyal consumer base. The Accord is a wonderful product with near bulletproof reliability. I personally own this generation Accord, an LX model with the 5-speed manual. The car had 225,000 miles on it and ran like a dream. Other than replacing the clutch, the car never needed any significant repairs. Frankly, I wish I kept the car. In my opinion, this generation Accord still looks great to this day with its clean and timeless design. The Accord I owned held up very well, despite being a 90s car with 250,000 miles on it. I still see plenty of 5th generation Accords on the road these days, at least in my area. Let us know in the comments if you've owned a 5th generation Honda Accord. As always, thanks for coming out to the show, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, this is your host Rob, and thanks for tuning in to Antique Tags.